Wright.
George Kilpatrick, inspiration for the nation. If you hear a Kool-Aid smile in my voice, or if you see it on my face, that's because I got my people here. My people are in the house, right? And Dr. Rick said, no, it's not your people. This is your family. We got the family back, y'all. First of all, we have the First Lady of Gospel, Cora Thomas, is in the house. This is the Sunday lineup. And then right after that, we've got Dr. Roosevelt Rick Wright. This is radio legendary right here. Radio legendary radio host, Dr. Rick Wright, Professor Emeritus at Dees Syracuse University. Man, Doc, it's so good to see you. Also joining us is another radio legend, Merrill B. Butch Charles, of course. What's that, 360 ebony degrees and everything else?
360 ebony degrees.
Man, this
Tony
is so good.
Veneer. Tony Veneer.
No, I don't know where Cora pitched. I don't know where Cora went, so I'm hoping that
I don't either.
So undo so we can see your beautiful face, Cora. But
I'm trying.
And of course, Kenny Dees. Man, talk about radio legend. Kenny Dees is in the house. I got my people. What's that song? We Are Family. Yes. I got all my people with me. This is great. This is amazing. I wanted to bring all of you together because we haven't. Y'all are all doing various different things in the community, but I wanted the Power 620 listeners to hear from y'all once more. And again, Cora, turn your camera on.
So I'm trying, sir. I'm trying.
Cora, hit that button with a camera slash through it. But let me begin. Who do I begin with? Well, let me begin with Kenny because Kenny is kind of back home, so to speak. So Kenny, for those who don't know, what you up to right now?
Well, first of all, DK, I saw you for the first time in 2 years. We've been talking over, since the pandemic started.
That's true.
And I got together with you and Butch, and it was up on West Scott Street, and it was like in 2020.
Was that 2020?
July of 2020. Yes, it was in July of 2020. That was the last time I put peepers on you, or well, not Butch, but I saw you at the state fair, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah, it was like great. It was great to see you. Yeah.
But I'm still hanging in here. Of course, after everything happened at Power 620, and I feel bad for a lot of people because not only at Power 620 but across the country, a lot of people got let go as far.
Yeah, talk about what happened because I don't want to assume that people just join in. They may not know what happened. So basically, let me just set this up a little different way. These are the legendary voices that create these. This is Syracuse radio in the flesh, right? Historical Syracuse radio in every way you want to shape it. These people here on this screen and on your radio basically laid the foundation for what is Syracuse radio. I don't care what you heard somewhere else. This is it right here. All of us were affiliated with iHeart Radio, Power 620. I'm still here, right? But all of us at one time were affiliated with all the different incarnations of what is now iHeart Radio in Syracuse. Kenny, Butch, program directors, Dr. Rick with his shows on there, and Cora Thomas doing gospel programs simultaneously on 2 stations. Don't ask her how she did it, but she did it. And
continues to.
And continues to. So so that's, I wanted to set that back to, so now Kenny, and you were like you're the last program director for Power 620 before what happened, Kenny?
Well, just to set the stage of what happened, the landscape of radio has changed so much.
Oh, that was us. That's a picture of us.
Yeah. Love that picture. My mom loves that picture too, Butch. But, the landscape of radio has changed so much. And, sometimes what, big conglomerates like to do is to look at the bottom line. And if they can do something without spending that much money, It means getting, getting rid of people. And basically, that's what it was. And I'm good with that because that's the business, and that's the business that we work in, and
Right.
we have to be prepared for that. But
you always know that one day that could come, right?
Yeah, I saw myself getting prepared for that with some of the things that they wanted me to do as far as programming and all that kind of stuff. And that day came. But one of the things that I'm just grateful for is that radio does not define who I am. My job does not define who I am. I'm still Kenny. I'm still the same person. And I'm just glad that I'm still able to carry on. In the radio industry, actually, you may not hear me on the air here in Syracuse, but, I'm still doing my thing. And, I just thank God for that because he was the one who provided me with the way to go. And I'm still doing my thing. So, I'm grateful. I'm good.
Yeah, and we hear you like in all over this country, right? From the South to the South. We hear you all over, don't we?
Birmingham, Philadelphia, New York, Rochester, Syracuse. I'm doing several different markets. I'm actually, still working for iHeartMedia. It is with a affiliate called the Black Information Network. And, it's nothing as sexy as doing the on-air thing, but, I'm doing traffic and weather reports for them. And I get to work here from home. I mean, it's good. Like I said, I'm just blessed because, after, leaving the job that I had and that I, truly love, I was able to get something, basically in the same vein. And at my age, sometimes it's hard to, come up with something, of that stature. But, I was able to do it. And, I was able to do it because of, the work that I put in for the last, how long have I been doing radio? About 40 years.
40 years, Kenny.
About 40 years.
Are you're including college and all that as well?
I'm including college and all of that. And, all the experience that I've had there and all the experiences that I had in professional radio and, with all you guys and, all of that has, meshed. And, I just know the industry that I am in and, I know how it works and I'm just blessed to be in a place that I am now.
I got Butch and Dr. Rick. We're all from work together way back in the day from WAER Syracuse, where Cora Thomas does her thing as a first. So Cora, you just keep some radio under your belt. What's going on, Cora? How you doing?
I am doing great. It's so good to see you all, Butch, Kenny, Dr. Wright, and family. And I'm still at WAER. I work there full time.
Yeah.
And when I was with Power, I was full time at WAER, and it was with Butch Charles' blessings that I could do Power and WAER simultaneously. So I did it. Left Power 620, kept going with WAER, and I'm doing well. And now I'm doing WSIV again with Sam and Craig. So I do that Sunday afternoon. So I'm very busy.
Tell us what time you're on, Cora.
Sunday morning, 6 to 8, WAER and WVOA, WSIV. That's 2 to 4 on Sunday, both on Sundays.
Right. So never left WAER, kept it going, and now you have WSI. And so Corey, and by the way, Corey, you got a big event coming up with Symphoria. Tell us about that as well.
Well, Richard Smallwood is a living legend, and he is my favorite artist. And I do collaborations with Symphoria. And this is our second collaboration, Gospel Meets Symphony. So I have gathered a bunch of community people, And we are going to blow the roof off with the orchestra on Friday night, September 30th at the Civic Center with a tribute to Richard Smallwood.
I cannot wait for that. And so people can go to symphoria.org to get tickets for that event?
Yes. It's going to be, we've been in rehearsals. It has been phenomenal, George, and have this great conductor coming from Birmingham, Alabama. And he's going to meet with the choir, and the finished product you all will see on next Friday.
I cannot wait for that. And so, yeah, so Cora's still doing her thing.
Yes.
You still how they're producing events, and you're still doing the Martin Luther King choir. You're still doing that, right?
I'm still doing the choir. I still work with Westcott Festival. We have an event coming up Sunday at 12:30.
Today.
Yeah, today, beginning at 12:30 to 6:30.
Dude, can I just tell you that Westcott?
I'll see you up there.
Who? Kenny, you coming?
Yes, I'm right down the street.
Okay, brown skin is closing at 5 o'clock. So
5 o'clock. And you have what? WAR has a stage, right? Y'all usually have a stage, right?
Pardon me?
Don't you have a stage tip usually?
Yeah, I'm the MC for that stage.
How about that? Is that the one in now? Is that in the Dulles? In that what Dorian's? Is that in that parking lot?
That's Dorian's, but there's 6 stages.
Oh yeah, that's one of them.
That's the main stage.
Right. Oh, you want to make that clear that's the main stage.
The main stage.
If you were watching us on YouTube, Butch is giving us a photo bomb as we talk.
A surprise birthday party, by the way,
I
George.
know that's right. Listen,
surprise birthday party.
I don't know who to go to next between Dr.
Segue. That's a segue, Butch. I mean, George, that's what they call a segue. So you know where to go next.
I'm supposed to go to Butch next. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Or go to
Dr. You're supposed to go to the doctor next.
Dr. Professor. Rick. First of all, hey Doc, what's that fraternity thing behind you?
Oh, the Omega Psi fraternity. Yes, indeed. Incredible. Yeah. Really, it's nice to be on air with you today, George, and also the family, Kenny, Butch, and of course, Cora. Cora really got me back. What was the end of June? Right, Cora?
Yeah, it was the ancestral celebration.
Oh, God, at the ancestral dinner at the Sheraton. Cora, I usually MC all of the Juneteenth celebrations. So Cora came to me a number of months ago and said, Rick, you're going to MC the ancestral dinner, aren't you? I said, yeah, Cora, I'll be there. It's going to be at the Sheraton and all, and everybody be in African garb and all the good stuff. So the place was packed, and I saw all these people coming in, and all the mayor was there. I mean, Pam Hunter, all the politicians, everybody was there. And, it was the ancestral dinner for Juneteenth celebration 2022. And, I said, yes, should be this way. So we had the program, kicked it off, and we were celebrating. In fact, Cora said that the program was to celebrate, which it did, local R&B bands, legendary bands, the Black Lights, UAD, and of course, what's that other group there, Cora? UAD, the Black Lights,
Brown
Skin, Nate of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Okay, so we had a beautiful spread food. The place was gorgeous, beautifully decorated and all. So the first half, we basically did the program. And then, of course, we had the dinner, and then I got back up on stage, and I was getting ready to end the program. And then Cora came up to the microphone and said, Rick, the program is not over. It's just starting. And this is a celebration of your contributions. And I always told Cora, don't you ever do anything like this. Give me some kind of a celebration, because I do not like celebrations at all. But anyway, that night was incredible. Butch, thank God for you, man. And all the people that came through that door, Danny Shays, basketball star, Howie Trish, all kind of messages from SU folk. And Butch is putting up on the screen there all these beautiful photographs. Also, big proclamation from the city and also the county executive. Another big proclamation from the state legislature. Oh, it goes on and on. But it was fantastic. Cora, and to all of the Juneteenth committee and the family, thank you so much. I'm getting old. And of course, that was my 79th birthday. And Butch, Kenny,
Yes,
Cora,
sir.
George, next one is 8-0.
8-0. What we gonna do, Doc?
Oh, I just hope to be alive. I will say this though, seriously though, George, on your radio show and here at Power 620, which we're on air now, I've been in radio since really a long time. I'm like the great grandfather now.
Yeah.
I'm working with a lot of students at the SI Newhouse School of Public Communication, especially graduate students. And we have a number of brothers and sisters that have finally shown up in our graduate program. Butch and Kenny, we've been working on this for years to get, diversity numbers up. We still got a long way to go. But, I have another statement about radio. And
talk to me, Doc.
I'm really saddened today about radio broadcasting. We have all these terrestrial AM and FM radio stations on the air. We have a corporate model of basically bean counters, hedge fund folk who know nothing about communications. Of course, the SEC started deregulating the industry years ago, and we have come up with really a model now that is absolutely horrible. I mean, right now, for instance, on Power right now, we're on air, what's it, Sunday mornings?
Yes,
After
sir.
the show goes off, we're looking at really a good another 7 days of basically a station for people who have never been to Syracuse, voice tracking.
I'm the only one.
But I would just indicate, yeah, George, but my God, you've been in this business a long time. And I think really I'm an old senior citizen who's been in this industry, degrees in it, taught in 5 universities. I trained some of the greatest broadcasters in the country. In fact, Mike Tirico and I were sitting over at the varsity the night before the Louisville football game, talking about the state of the industry. Radio's ability to localize with live local radio talent is its greatest attribute. Now, we're on the air on a station right now that's going 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 2 hours, what, you on Sunday mornings? No, that's not radio broadcasting. I'm not even going to celebrate it. And of course, I know all the folk that run this industry at the top, along with Butch. And the key thing I'm indicating is that in this day and time of disinformation, yes, we got a lot of other platforms, but when you're talking about podcasting, it's only a child of radio broadcasting. We got all the other distribution platforms, yes, but yet we still have over 12,000 AM and FM that is combined terrestrial radio stations on the air, and a good 80% of them are not doing anything in a time and an era of disinformation. Look what is happening in our country.
Yeah.
And right now, I grew up with some great radio folk. I mean, I've been around and I'm talking some of the giants of this industry who are now dead and gone, and they're probably turning over in their graves. From an African-American experience, urban radio is the tribal drum of our community. Right now, we have politicians and leaders in this world who are trying to wipe out our ancestry. Right now. I mean, they're trying to eliminate what we have done in this country. The radio stations that I grew up with in the South during the Civil Rights Movement had live local announcers on the air who attacked those theories. Right now, we got folk just nice and easy, and these are the next 4 records. That's not radio broadcasting, and especially urban radio. And of course, I hope the great owners of this company are listening, know you well, and call you out. And of course, the corporate model for radio is in trouble. Let's don't celebrate it. They have basically gone to the model now because they are in debt. All right? I mean, let's talk the financial side. And again, Butch, I love it. The ownership side. We got into this game and owning broadcast properties, and then they changed the rules of the game.
Who was that, Butch?
Butch, turn the mic on. There you go. Like Jack Holmes.
That was Lowry Mays.
Oh, yeah, he just died.
Lowry Mays, who basically, created, of course, Lowry Mays only had one station down in San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah.
And that ended up to the Clear Channel model with the deregulation going on.
Right.
But also, we got to get back to ownership of these properties. That's the key thing I'm saying. And I see the fire sale coming. And I'll close with that.
Dr. Rick Wright, Cora Thomas, Kenny Dees, Butch Charles, more when we come back. Our radio legends right here on Inspiration for the Nation. Welcome back, George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation, celebrating people we feel good about. Kenny Dees, Cora Thomas, Dr. Rick Wright, Butch Charles on the air once again on Power 620. Only here can you hear these voices all together right now. Of course.
Hey, George and
yes.
Kenny,
Yeah.
Cora, Butch.
Yeah.
I just, I'm getting a senior moment, but I want to bring up something here. Look,
Go ahead.
You remember the family power jams that we had on Oneida Shores that summer?
Butch Charles.
Now
remember that?
Let's get back to how radio broadcasting should be used. And this model, I mean, people, the need for information to entertain us, inform us, and educate us is needed more than ever. And it is the content providers, formats, and radio that would make this happen. I go back over and over again. I remember that summer we had the big Power Family Jams picnic on Oneida Shores. We drew close to 40,000 people to a location. Everybody couldn't even get in. The New York State Highway Patrol was calling us. You know, traffic was backed up. The folks.
I see Butch smiling right now because he was the one who was.
Put this.
I mean, put the thing on.
Yeah, but Kenny, we're talking about the power of local radio.
Right.
And of course, we had Tyrese, Evelyn Champagne King. There were barbecues all over the place. Everybody had a smile on their face. Had to shut the place down because in the history of Syracuse, New York, radio, I don't think there's another event that can match that one. Tyrese, Evelyn Champagne King, and a family of African-American brothers and sisters. And not just African-American brothers and sisters, but the concentration was our party.
Everybody was up in there.
Well, yes, but radio put those people in that location is the point I'm saying. Live local jocks. And at that time we had no voice tracking. Kenny going 24/7 with live announcers. And again, that model has not disappeared. It is still intact. And it is time for the leadership and the owners of radio to get back to the get back. And it is live local radio with strong, incredible announcers, community, news, and information. Because we got an election coming up of midterms in 45 days or whatever?
Or whatever, yes.
I mean, hey, come on. We need to be discussing the issues right now. And now, the vehicle is on the air doing absolutely nothing.
Aren't y'all glad I invited all of these folks, these good folks, Cora, Rick, Kenny, Butch Charles, the main reason why I'm probably in radio. Young lad back in 1977. My roommate Lee Cornelia said, "Hey, they're doing." It was 1978, I think. Hey,
78.
You want to
go? I was there.
You want to go up to WAER, and they're doing some stuff called Black Expressions Week. And this brother by the name of Butch Charles, I met him up at WAER. And that was, 47 years? How many years ago was that?
A long time. Just say a long time.
Wow.
Back in the olden days.
So that's how I got my start in the business. And Butch has been a minute. Butch, what's going on, bro?
Yeah, this is the concert that Doc was talking about. Isn't that Tyrese right there?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yes.
Hold it steady. Yes. Wow.
And about 35,000+ people at the beach that day.
I can't find that picture now.
So, Butch, you've been in all parts of the game: station owner, programmer, all of the above. So, what's going on? How you feeling right now about all of this?
How I feel about it is that I still feel that there's with all of the new technology that's out and people being able to listen on their phones and don't have to wait for somebody to play a song anymore. I still think that there's a hunger for somebody to talk to you and let you know what's going on in the community. I'm optimistic, like Doc, that that there will be a reckoning one day and a shakedown and shakeout in order to relieve some of the financial pressure that these larger radio companies are gonna experience because they're too big and can't run efficiently. I don't understand how iHeart can even afford to cut people anymore because they're so lean. And how are they gonna really operate operate, period. Forget about operating efficiently or effectively. So yeah, I agree that it's going to swing the other way, and there'll be a door open for more local broadcasting. But again, it's going to take it's still going to take a little bit of time for it to develop. I'm still interested in getting back into the ownership, but the prices still have to come down a little bit. People are still trying to get too much for something that's not what it was, and still trying to get top dollar for it. And that's why Clear Channels or iHeart being insistent. They are still demanding too much money for properties that they know aren't worth that much anymore. So, but I'm optimistic that we'll be able to come back around and provide this community with something that they'll be able to hang their hat on and call their own, or talking to them. And and we're working whatever avenues we can to make sure that opportunity still comes our way. Whether it's me, whether it's Dr. Wright, whether it's some new kid on the block.
Man, I appreciate that, and I'm just thinking about you, Cora. You're on the air now, and I know that when you were on Power, I know you infused a lot of community type conversations within that. Are you still able to do that to the extent that you were able to do that before? And how do you see your role now, even though, because I know the AER show is a little different, but how do you see your role even on SIV?
SIV, I can do community, but it's a target audience, because, they're tuned in to listen to gospel.
Right.
But I do a lot of politicians. They come through and talk about what's going on. Community events, if I'm not involved in it, I'm still promoting it. So we're still doing it. But again, we need it to be more, I think, more 24/7.
Yeah.
Breaking news, this is what's going on. This is Community Corner. And people need to know that's what we're going to be talking about. So I agree with Dr. Wright. I agree with Butch. More is needed. More is needed.
Yeah, definitely more is needed. Butch, what are you up to? What are you doing these days, by the way? Speaking of which.
I'm a professor of journalism over at SUNY Morrisville. And I'm in my 8th or 9th year with them. And I'm also working on trying to bring back 360 Ebony Degrees on an internet radio format for people to be able to listen to. Been working with Tony Bonilla on that. And I hope that will be ready for prime time, definitely before the year is out, but probably before the snow flies, when in November sometime.
It could be tomorrow.
All that word snow out, you all.
It could be tomorrow.
Last day of summer. Today is the last day of summer.
Yeah. If you need a jock, you know where to find one.
I know all of you have had, and Dr. Rick, I know you're doing a project as well. What are you up to?
Oh, God, in fact, it's a labor of love for me. I've been going since I was 15 years old at 89. I think the real problem I've got is that I grew up with great radio in the South.
Right.
I mean, I grew up with full-time urbans, man, like WRAP Norfolk, WANT Richmond, WSRC Durham, WLLE Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill. I mean, these were old R&B stations that went 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I was trained by really some of the greatest announcers in the business, urban African-American announcers like Jack Holmes, Norfolk, Virginia. Ms. Leola Dyson, my godmother, was one of the first African-American female radio announcers. This is my lineage and my background.
Oh, and by the way, Dr. Rick, where are you from again?
Elizabeth City, North Carolina.
We could not let this broadcast go
But
without
also,
had to hear it. Had to hear it.
But
you know
also,
what I'm saying? Cora, I had to do it.
well, I got to do more. If you're going to bring up, I like to bring up some great schools that I attended. Really got me going. Elizabeth City State University. I was an industrial arts technology major, and really out of that course, when I got my baccalaureate degree, I got my first class radio broadcast engineering license out of an HBCU and master's degree in educational media and commerce from North Carolina Central at Durham. Worked radio stations in those cities when I was in school, and also went to Virginia State, Petersburg for a certificate for advanced graduate studies that basically led to my trip to Syracuse to get my doctoral degree, which I have in instructional technology. My dissertation, by the way, is on how radio can be used as a tool of instruction. Mm-hmm. And with the pandemic that just went down, I cried and I said, my God, this is the very thing we need right now in getting, instruction out to our kids. Yeah, I used a study where I compared, I had 3 radio broadcast formats: album-oriented rock, contemporary hit radio, and urban contemporary. Had 6 history lessons on Syracuse, New York history. Mm-hmm. That I basically aired to 8th grade students at Grant on the north side of the city, Levy in the middle of the city, and Shea on the south side of the city many years ago. And basically I wanted to find out if radio could be used along with the music and the disc jockey doing their thing. Could the instructional messages included with all the music, would the students get the material? And there were 6 Syracuse history lessons, and I can show you the study and the statistical significance of radio as a tool. I mean, I pre-tested the students on their knowledge of Syracuse history, Jerry Rescue, early trains, Erie Canal, all that good stuff. And then they heard the radio format, post-tested them, and the statistical gains are incredible. And of course, I had kids, who were in the album-oriented rock format who really love urban. And in the comment section, they let me know that, but they still learn. And what I'm indicating, we just went through, by the way, everybody's forgetting, we went through a complete shutdown in this country over the last 2 years and a half, where radio should have been dancing, and we had nobody on the air giving out information of what to do.
It's interesting talking to Dr. Rick, Cora Thomas, Kenny Dees, Butch Charles, radio legends, radio royalty, really. And I was thinking about big moments in your careers around radio, or memorable. Let's talk about memorable moments. And I'll share one memorable moment because Butch was actually involved in it. Actually, there's 2 I want to share. And Kenny was involved in. Well, Kenny was involved in a couple of things, but one of them was me picking up Run DMC from the airport. It was Russell Simmons, Russell Simmons, DMC, Daryl, and Jam Master Jay, and Run, right? And I picked him up in the airport in my little Chevrolet Nova rental vehicle because my car was in the shop. And I think I was bringing him to your house. Is that
I knew he was going to come up with the picture.
Yes. And
there you go. Mikey
right,
Mike.
That was for the Greek. Wasn't that for the Greek Freak? I believe it was. I think they were like, well, it wasn't for the Greek Freak.
No, I think they came and did a concert in the basement of the War Memorial.
A War Memorial. But I don't know how was I picking them up from the airport?
Because I asked you to.
Okay. So they said, can you pick them up? I was like, yeah. And
well,
actually,
George, he only had the 280Z.
Right.
So he couldn't pick all those guys up.
Right. And so we went to Burger King on Erie Boulevard, which is since torn down, but now they're bringing another one back. And I remember as a little college student back in the day, I just remember them ordering everything on the menu.
Marshall Street, you mean?
No, it was on Erie Boulevard. That's where I took them because I went through the drive-through. And so we went to Burger King, and I remember them ordering everything. I was like, man, what's that like? Because, I'm thinking all I got is $3 to get a burger, some fries, and a Coke. And they ordered like all this stuff. And I was like, wow. But that was, and I remember them talking about this was a tour stop for them. They were headed to Flint, Michigan after this. And I think I delivered them to your house, Butch. I think, or some, yeah. And then there was another party over there. That's why Butch has that picture. So that was one memorable moment among many others, but that was one that came to mind for me. I have another memorable moment with Cora when she did her gospel extravaganza at Bethany, and they walked her in as the queen. She, you know, I love that moment. That was great, Cora. I know you've had a lot of great moments. Do you have any memorable things that stick out for you in your history?
In my history, well, you know, I do. I got involved with bringing gospel greats to Syracuse, and my most memorable one was at Hendricks Chapel with Tremaine Hawkins.
Wow.
I did Tremaine Hawkins, and we filled the place.
Yes.
Standing room only. And my sisters, it was my first real concert, and my sisters became my glam squad.
I know that's right.
Older sister came with her St. John outfit and dressed me, and my other sister did my hair, my other sister did my makeup, and I thought I was Miss It.
I know that's right.
Hawkins night. So yeah, that was a big night for me.
Hey, you know, can I interject real quick, Cora?
You sure can.
There's another significance of Cora's concert at Hendricks Chapel. From an African-American historical ancestry point of view, there are brothers and sisters from Syracuse, New York, who had lived here all their life. They had never been up to Hendricks Chapel. And I'm telling you, I saw brothers and sisters with tears coming out of their eyes in beautiful Hendricks Chapel. And the African-American gospel experience, you know, is its own time. But that I just wanted to remember that, Cora, as we talked about a lot of times, your community service has been absolutely incredible, most exemplary. And that was a big one.
And Cora liked to play it off, but she's in everything. Don't sleep on Cora Thomas.
Hey, George, and Kenny and Cora, and while we got on the air here, I want to make this statement to the Syracuse University leadership, that the community outreach part of Syracuse University that's integrated into this community, one of the jewels who can make that happen is Miss Cora Thomas.
Okay, thank you.
And I mean, Chancellor Severud, Dr. Rick telling you, and the Syracuse University administration for the community outreach in this city, and especially her use of radio and her knowledge. She's already, look what she's done with our Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebrate. We got the largest celebration of the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the entire United States of America, right here. And
I know that's right.
That big community choir. You know,
more memorable moments when Inspiration for the Nation continues with Cora Thomas, Dr. Rick, Kenny Dees, and Butch Charles. Inspiration for the Nation. George Kilpatrick, Inspiration for the Nation. Welcome back. We got the crew up in here. It's family, y'all. Kenny Dees, Butch Charles, Cora Thomas, Dr. Rick Wright. Butch, we've been talking about memorable moments in all of, and there's lots of them, but do you have one that you want to share that sticks out for you? There's so many.
No, there's way too many.
So now pick one of the many.
No, I mean, I think what Dr. Wright, this is really more memorable. Well, when we were doing power, you know, we were bringing artists up all the time, and I think our favorite artist to bring to Syracuse was Fabulous. He had been up here. He had been up here like 2 or 3 or 4 different times in the 2000s, and we brought him up one time. He had a performance down at the old Masonic temple down in Ithaca.
I remember that.
And he came, so they flew into Syracuse, and then we had a limo bus, and we rode on a limo bus from Syracuse Airport to Ithaca, which is about an hour ride, but it's in the hills and it's in the snow, and it was snowing that night.
I remember that.
And it was scary running around in there. And, you know, so we were on that bus, and, you know, we finally did make it there. And when we got Fab and whatnot in there, the place was packed. Like packed, solid, you know, with students from Cornell and Ithaca College and all, you know, down in that Tompkins County area. And our general manager, Joel Delmonico, was down there with us to see what we did. And he was all smiles and his eyes was all big because I think we were charging people $10 a head or something like that. And the money was just rolling in. And there was so much of it, we couldn't carry it. Wow. We couldn't handle it. So Joel, I remember Joel, we had him in, it was either plastic bags or something like that. We had nothing but a big chunk of money, and we were walking out to the bus and whatnot. So, you know, so it wouldn't be right there in front so people would see it and whatnot, and we could count it and do it off to the side. And, you know, and of course, Joel was smiling from ear to ear to see all of that and, you know, and where it goes and whatnot.
And was that when Power Signal was dominant in Ithaca, or was that after?
Oh, that was a Power.
No, that was while Power Signal was dominant in Ithaca and Syracuse. Not dominant, but could be heard in both Ithaca and Syracuse.
And Auburn, right? Yeah, and Auburn. Yeah.
Hey, Butch, senior moment to the family. There's a photograph that I think, if we talk about great moments in Syracuse radio and power, the Tom Joyner Morning Show.
Oh, yeah. Find that one.
That was that picture
at the War Memorial.
The picture I'm talking about was taken at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Right, before, because he did a live show there, yes.
It appeared on the front page of the Post-Standard the next day or the day after. I mean, we're talking about a sea of people.
Yeah.
Waiting to get in for the Tom Joyner Morning Show on Power 106.9 PHR in those days. And that's, but you got the picture. I know you're looking for it right there.
I'm trying.
Butch, don't you let nothing. I'm writing a book right now called I Turned Up the Radio. And Butch, your photo collection will be in that book with your talking photos by Butch Charles. I've got the book about written, man. That's what I'm also working on. Hey, George. Here's one for you. While Butch is looking for that picture, let me hear George. I'm still going around Syracuse, New York.
Right.
In the year 2022.
Okay.
I go into Wegmans and I go into supermarkets, and people still think you and I are doing that Sunday morning sketch with Atomic Dog on WSYR radio.
That's right.
That one. Okay.
It would be at 8 something in the morning, and I had the Atomic Dog play, and Dr. Rick and I would just come on, and he would just be talking. I don't even know when did I don't even remember when I left SYR. Was it 18? Was it 7? I don't remember.
The only thing I can indicate is that segment that
17?
we did,
I don't know.
The segment that we did on Sunday mornings had the biggest ratings in the city of Syracuse. It was only about a 10, 15-minute segment before I got off to church at St. James Episcopal Church out of Skinny Atlas. And I still go into supermarkets and people, hey man, how you and George doing on the morning show on WSYR? Right.
Which is funny, but because they, people say I still watch you, and you're like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Well, one other memorable thing is I was thinking about when we did our first international broadcast live from Jamaica. That was another thing. And who was the artist? Butch.
Selena Johnson.
And the other
Talib Kweli.
Talib Kweli, yes. And we broadcasted almost live from Jamaica. So I remember that. That was fun as well. Kenny, I have a memorable moment. It's not a memorable, but a moment. And I remember when you have many of them, but when Monique came and did the show with us, and how generous,
I still have the video on my phone.
Right?
I still have that video.
She, people talk about Monique and all this stuff, how generous she was. And when we asked her to do drop, she said, I wanted to make sure I came over to the urban radio station because y'all really been good to me. And when we asked her to do drops, and if she messed it up, she said, no, I got to get it right. She was so I remember that too. Monique was among, look, lots of people, we met lots of famous people. I'm not singling out But I just remember how nice she was when she came into the studio. Kenny, memorable moments for you?
Well, a memorable moment for me may not be, it's a memorable moment for me. And I would not have been at Power 620 if it weren't for Butch Charles. And I have to go back because, or I got there, he said that, look, we got the station. I remember he had his FM jazz station that, he sold to Clear Channel at the time. And he said, we're gonna do this urban thing. And I want you to come over there, and said, it's just gonna be part-time at first. I was like, man, I've been doing radio for too long. I can't do no part-time radio. And one thing he said to me, he's like, Kenny, you have to have your foot in the door. And that's one of the things that resonates with me to this day. And for anybody out there who wants to do radio, who wants to get their own thing going, you have to have your foot in the door. And if I had refused that, I wouldn't be here on this broadcast today. And I have Butch to thank for that. So Butch, I thank you so much, because the things that we did with this radio station, all the memorable times that you guys were talking about, and the more memorable times that, we just don't have time to talk about.
Right.
And it all comes from you and, your vision of what an urban station should be. And we got a chance to do that with Clear Channel. And, I just thank you for your guidance and everything. I wouldn't be there without you. I wouldn't be doing radio without you. So I just want to thank my man, Butch Charles, my mentor. He might say, I don't want to be that guy. But
So when you hear that, Butch, what goes through your mind? And all the people that you've worked with over the years.
No, well, I'll tell you what goes through my mind is that we were, all of us working together going back to the 80s, we were ahead of our time. I mean, we were just a little bit ahead. And if we had the financial support to do what we wanted to do when we wanted to do it, we'd have probably been, we'd have been straight. I mean,
we've been in Russell and Diddy and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, we had all of the right people, and we met them all. They all came through here. We had given Syracuse a name as a result of that, but but without the ability to consummate that with a purchase and owning and all of that, it just didn't fly. And we were talking last night, George, about, and Rick, you'll get a kick out of this. My wife called me up, Carol called me up, told me to look, because my daughter had a Instagram post of her going to some club in downtown Syracuse and dancing. And at that club, they have a big video screen. And on that big video screen, they were playing the YouTube of Syracuse Soul. The show that we did up at OCC.
Oh my God.
Yeah, everybody. So she's dancing on the dance floor, and on the big screen behind her is her mother dancing back on Syracuse Soul back in the day. And and I mean, I'm just saying, here we are, that's at least 40 years old.
At least.
Hey,
at least.
Butch, let's go back to the Top Cat Lounge.
Yeah, Top Cat Lounge.
That was after
television and radio.
Wait, after Orpheus, which burned down. Orpheus on the north side, doing Syracuse Soul, and then after that, Top Cat, and then the legacy continued with Kenny Dees, Club Beat Video.
No, there were so many clubs that we did. Caribou,
remember that.
with at that time, I guess Showcase was there. We had Just Mike. We had Maestro.
Crystals, we did Crystals. They used to have that Crystals downtown.
Yeah, but see, that was you. That was after my time, Kenny.
No, I mean, there was a lot of entertainment that, you know, we brought here, you know, with the different DJs.
Right. That was like the TV side of it. Yeah, the TV side.
Oh, the TV side of it was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was one of the original, not the original hosts, but second to Sam Nelson for.
So for all of you, I'm going to put that in this video that you watch on YouTube. I'm going to put that Syracuse Soul link so you could see me and Butch Charles' significant other. We were in that video doing what we have to do. And so my daughters were at that same event, Butch, and they was like, why? They said, Dad, you're on the screen. I was like, what? What are you talking about? And it was the same video back. So what they did is they were playing this retro video while they were doing their thing. It was like a thing down there. Hey, Doc.
Yes.
In your illustrious career, can you name a moment?
I tell you what, you know, I'll go back to Syracuse here because I got some really, I mean, I worked a lot
everything from
but
A to Z.
I'll bring up a moment of Syracuse radio history. It was Christmas of 1976. I had.
I remember this.
When I came back from, I came here originally in Syracuse in 1970 as a doctoral fellow, and I got a gig at WOLF radio. In fact, they didn't realize I was black when I showed up at the station, and they thought I'd have a qualification. I was the first phone brought that. Well, anyhow, then I ended up working at WNDR for about 2 years. I was Rick Wright all through the night, WNDR. But here is the moment. I was Dr. Larry Myers, God bless his soul, and WAER is celebrating the 75th anniversary, which is also part of Cora's big superstar gospel show she's got going next week. But when I first came to Syracuse back on faculty, Dr. Myers, Butch, came to me and said, Roosevelt, you take over as faculty manager of WAER radio. And our studios then were at Newhouse. Of course, they were brand new. Newhouse 2 had opened up in 74. And then I got a call from Dean Schulte, Dr. Myers, and Dr. Don Ely, who said, Roosevelt, you got to get back to Syracuse. And I also had to get back also to finish up my doctoral dissertation also. And I really came back to get that done. I was going back south. Well, anyhow, I was faculty manager of WAER radio. WAER at that time was completely student run and operated.
I remember that.
The station was really ahead of its time then. Well, Christmas comes up. I mean, look, the students of that area used to sleep in that radio station, including Kenny, Dees, and Butch. I mean, the station was on the air 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with live announcers. And the hottest show on the station was a show called 360
Ebony Degrees.
Because Syracuse didn't have an urban radio station at the time, full-time station. Okay, it's Christmas Eve coming up. And I had some students that come down to my office and they said, Professor Wright, boy, our parents are calling us, man, we got to go home for Christmas. And we don't know what to do with the radio station. And I said, oh, don't worry about it. It'll be okay. We'll take care of it. And y'all go home and see mom and dad and everybody. So there I am, and Newhouse was empty. Christmas, you know, students are gone, snowing like everything outside. And I went on the air on WAER on a Christmas Eve, 1976. And I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to give Syracuse a real Christmas gift, a full-time urban radio station. And I think I was on the air for like 14 hours straight, all Christmas. The telephones were blowing up at WAER on the 4th floor. People were bringing food by the station, and people from the community who had never been there were stopping by. And I had people, in fact, one brother called me and said he had his boom box out on his front porch on the south side, snowing like everything, with the volume jacked up. He said, man, this is incredible. They could not believe. And I never forget one couple, a lady called me at the station and said, Rick, you do not realize what you're doing right now. I said, I hope it's okay. And I was just having a good time in the radio studio, you know, going all the radio tricks, man. And she called me and said, I got relatives here from Atlanta, Georgia, who are here. And man, she was crying over the phone, who said that Syracuse was a hick town and they didn't want to come back up for Christmas. But she said, my God, they are listening to the radio station. And they said, this station sounds greater than anything in Atlanta.
Amen.
But that was Christmas of 1976. And I never get Larry Martin. He can tell you a story. Larry said he went to sleep, or he had been drinking with me, and then he said he woke up the next day and I was still on the air.
Still on the air.
He and Robert Hill, they always talking about that story. But that was I've been a lot of great moments, but really it was a service, a labor of love for me. And I did, we played the music, talked about the artists, opened up the phones for people to call in. And Syracuse had its first full-time urban station for about, and oh, by the way, Craig Fox and Synod who owns Armstrong Transmitters, and Craig came up to help relieve. The three of us had the station for, for that 3 or 4 day period. 1976 WAER style. By the way, that's in the book I'm writing, because I got to salute and dedicate the book to Dr. Larry Myers, Jr. and Dr. Donald P. Ely. Those two incredible professors and great leaders at Syracuse, man. They really believe, especially on the African-American experience. And of course, it was showtime. It was showtime.
Always is.
But that's another story.
And there we go. With that being said, my family, my crew, any parting words? We know we've got Westcott Fair today up at the Westcott Nation in Syracuse on Westcott Street. One of my favorite festivals in the Cuse, bar none, because it's diverse with people from all over the place. Butch Charles dropped something in the chat for y'all. Make sure y'all pick that up. Not y'all at home, but y'all over here. And also remember Gospel Meets Symphony, or Symphony Meets Gospel with Richard's Gospel Meets Symphony. Gospel Meets Symphony. That will be on September the 30th, 7 o'clock or 7:30?
7:30.
At
the
Civic Center, and experiencesymphoria.org for tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be a great, great time. And anything else y'all want to let me know before we got to get out of here and pay some bills?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to this Mike Showcase, Pastor Jaime, all vital parts of the Power 620 community.
Showcase, Pastor Mike, Maestro, Pastor Jaime.
Maestro, how could...
Yeah.
Maestro, yeah, of course.
We got a lot of great names. A lot of our family members left and became millionaires too.
There you go. Any last things, Butch? Going once, going twice. All right, Butch Charles, Kenny Dees, Cora Thomas. You can still hear Cora Thomas 6 to 8 on WAER and the 2 to 4 WSIV, and of course the legendary, the one and only Dr. Roosevelt Rick Wright,
my
Jr.
professor.
The professor who also was
I've been your old student. I've learned so much from all of you, and God bless you all, and I love you. And also, Syracuse, everybody listening to us today, just stand by. The show ain't over.
The show ain't over. We're just getting started. My pleasure to host these great radio legends, entertainment legends, really, not just radio, because everybody's multimedia on this panel. I'm just going to say, George Kilpatrick, inspiration for the nation.